Hello everyone. So I again welcome you all in this lecture. This is going to be lecture number 2nd of this chapter, sources of energy. So let us move on to the next slide. Okay, so here we are. In the previous video, we had seen the thermal power plant. And what we had seen in thermal power plant, we saw that in thermal power plant, we convert the heat energy into the electrical energy. What do we do? Basically, first of all, we used to combust the coal, and due to the combustion of the coal, heat energy is produced, and this heat energy converts the water into the steam, and that steam is used to make the turbine rotate. Okay, now guys, we all know that whenever turbine rotates, the electricity is generated because the turbine is connected to a dynamo or with a generator, and this generator generates electricity. There is a magnetic field. We all have seen in the magnetic effect of electric current chapter that whenever in a magnetic field a coil is rotated, the electricity is induced in that, or you can say the current is induced in that coil. Clear to you? Okay guys, so in this video we will be talking about hydropower plant. So basically guys, in this hydropower plant the system is same. Okay, but here we will use the energy the hydro energy to to rotate the turbine. But in the thermal power plant, what we used to do, we used to use heat energy. Okay, but here what we will be using, we will be using hydro energy. So basically here you can see the electricity produced from the kinetic energy of water is called hydroelectricity, and a plant which generates electricity on a large scale from flowing water is called hydroelectric power plant. So what do we do in this type of power plants? We have a setup like this, as you can see here. So basically this is a dam, and we had stored a water at some height, okay, like this. Now guys, when lots of water is stored, so when you release the water from this much height, so water will be coming down like this, and when it comes down, it has some kinetic energy, because we all know that if any object has some speed, so it has some kinetic energy as well. We all know that. And what is the formula for kinetic energy? Half mv square. Okay. So when this water comes down with some velocity or with some speed, so it has kinetic energy. And when this water reaches here, so the speed of the water is so much, because we all know that the earth is pulling the water downside, Okay, it is applying its gravity on it. So due to this, under the gravity, it will be coming so fast and its speed continuously increasing. So when it reaches here on this turbine, so its speed will be so much. Okay, so due to this kinetic energy, because of the speed on this water, the kinetic energy is stored. So this stored kinetic energy will make the turbine rotate. When the water hits this turbine here, you can see here. So the turbine will rotate, and when the turbine rotate, we all know that whenever the turbine rotate, the electricity is produced. So electricity will be generated because this turbine is connected to a generator like this. This is connected to a generator, and we all know that generator generates electricity, and here is a transformer, and after the transformer the electricity is transmitted to our houses. Getting my point? I hope guys this point is clear to you. Now you might be confused, what does this transformer do? So basically it is not related to our course, but still I want to let you know that this transformer can change the voltage, or it can increase the voltage. It either increase the voltage or decrease the voltage. So it is basically a device which changes the voltage. Okay, so this is what you need to know. I have told you. Now let me explain you again the working of the hydropower plant. So in hydropower plant, there is a dam. By this dam, lots of water is stored at some height. Okay, now this water has some potential energy because it is at some height. Okay, and it is not moving, so it doesn't have kinetic energy, but it has potential energy. But when you release the water, so this water comes down at some speed, with some speed. So it has some kinetic energy. And when this water comes here, reaches at this turbine, so this will rotate the turbine, and the kinetic energy of water converts into the rotational energy. Okay, or you can say the mechanical energy. Okay, because when turbine rotates, so it has some speed, so we can say that it has some mechanical energy. Now this mechanical energy is converted into the electrical energy. We all know that what generator do. Generator converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. But in motor, the principle is just different. In motor, we give electrical energy, it converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. But in generator, mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. So we all have discussed this in the earlier chapters. So this is how hydropower plant works. I hope everything is clear to you. Now let us move on to the next slide, and let us talk about the advantages and disadvantage of the hydropower plant. So guys, if I talk about the advantage, so as we all know that water is free of cost. Okay, but if I give you an example of thermal power plant, so we had seen that we were using coal. So coal has some price, so it requires money. But here you can see that water is free of cost. So it has, you can say that there is no fuel charge. We are using water here. Let us talk about the second advantage. And the second advantage is that these plants are pollution free. When in thermal power plant we had seen that when we were burning the coal, so it was producing harmful gases. Harmful gases. Okay. And due to these harmful gases, there is air pollution. Getting my point? So you can see that that drawback of thermal power plant is corrected here. You can see that in hydro power plant, this is pollution free. Okay, this is not producing any harmful gases, any smoke, because what we are using just water here. So that's why this also makes it its advantage. I hope guys this is clear to you. Now let us talk about the construction of dams helps to control floods. Basically, when we construct dam, so it can also prevent from the floods because it controls water. Okay, so what will happen? Water will not go crossing the dam, so that's why the area is saved from the floods. I hope guys this point is again clear to you. Now guys, after understanding the advantages, let us also talk about the limitations of hydel energy. Basically this hydel energy is what? The energy present in water. Now the first limitation, or you can call it drawback or disadvantage, whatever you want to say. So the first limitation is that for running these plants, a large amount of water is required. Okay, as you can see that we cannot use less amount in water, because if the water is less in amount, so the turbine cannot be rotated. Okay, so to rotate the turbine, what do we need to do? We need to give it high amount of water. So for running these plants, a large amount of water is required. I hope guys this point is again clear to you. Now let us talk about the second point. So the construction of dams needs a lot of investment. Basically, there is no running cost because we are using only water here. But to construct these dams, it requires lots of investment. Okay, I hope this point is clear to you. Now, the third point is that construction of dams affects a lot of flora and fauna. Basically, this comes for the animals. This flora and fauna what? These comes for the animals and plants. So the construction of dam will affect the animals and the plants as well, because water will not be accessible when we stop the water here. So water will not be able to reach, okay, to the other part. So that's why it will also affect the flora and fauna. So I hope guys again this point is clear to you. So if it is clear to you, let us move on to the next slide and let's see what we have seen. So before taking you to the next slide, let me again summarize what we have seen in hydropower plant. We have seen that in hydropower plant, we use the tidal energy or the energy present in the water to convert it into the electrical energy. It is pollution free. And if I talk about the advantages, so water is free of cost, it is pollution free, okay, and construction of dams also control floods. But there are, of course, there are some limitations of tidal energy as well. So the first limitation is that running these plants, lots of water is required, okay, and construction of dams requires high amount of money, lot of investment, and it will also affect the animals and plants. So guys, now it is high time to move on to the next slide, and let's talk about the other important power plant. So here we will be talking about the windmills. Okay, so basically guys, in windmills, what we use the kinetic energy of air, because when air blows, okay, when air is flowing, so what will happen, we use these winds like this. So when these winds rotate, so the turbine is also connected to these winds, okay, these windmills, okay. So guys, what will happen when these windmill rotate, so the turbine connected to this will also start rotating. The turbine connected to this will also start rotating, and when the turbine will rotate, so what will happen, the electricity will be generated. So basically what we are using here, we are using the energy present in air. When air is flowing, of course it has some energy. So when the air is flowing, so due to that energy, this windmill or this windmills will also be rotating, you can see. So due to the rotation of these, what will happen, the electricity will be generated. So I hope guys this point is clear to you. So we can say that it can be converted into mechanical and electrical energy. Basically here the mechanical energy is converted into the electrical energy, okay. So I hope this point is clear to you. Now let us talk about the advantages of using wind energy. So guys, the first advantage is that it is a natural renewable resource. Basically, what are the renewable resources? So renewable resources are the resources which can be used again and again, okay, and which is not going to finish, because what we are using air here. So this air, unlike coal and petroleum, okay, and natural gas, this air is not going to finish. We can use the same air again and again. So that's why it is renewable resource. I hope guys this point is clear to you. Now let us talk about the second advantage. And the second advantage is it is also eco-friendly. Why I am calling it eco-friendly? Because you can see that it is not producing any harmful gases like thermal power plant. Okay. So it is also eco-friendly because it is not polluting. It is not polluting what? It is not polluting the environment. I hope guys this point is again clear to you. Now guys, we will be talking about disadvantages. So The first disadvantage is that it can be established, it cannot be established everywhere. Okay, because it requires an area where the wind should be blown with minimum speed. And what is that minimum speed? It should be more than 15 kilometer per hour. 15 kilometer per hour is the minimum speed. This wind should be blown with this speed. Okay. So it requires a large area. Of course, it requires a large area. Okay. It should have a very big area where we can set up this windmill plant. Now, the third point is it is an expensive project. Of course, we need lots of investment for this project. Although the wind is free, but definitely to set up this plant, we need so much money. So this makes is an expensive project. Now, another disadvantage is that we cannot generate electricity all the time. Why? Because we know that wind does not blow all the time. So wind energy cannot be produced every time. So this is also another disadvantage of windmill. I hope guys this point is clear to you. Now the minimum speed of wind requires, I told you, okay, let me write it here, 15 kilometer per hour. Okay, it was not written, so I have written here 15 kilometer per hour is the minimum speed required to generate electricity. I hope guys these advantages or disadvantages is clear to you. So let me summarize what we have seen. We have seen that in windmill we use the energy present in the air or the kinetic energy of air to generate electricity. This shaft of the windmill, basically it rotates, okay, and turbine is connected with this, so turbine also rotates and we generate electricity. Advantages is, first advantage is that it is a renewable resource. Okay, we can renew it again and again. It is not going to be finished. Second, that it is eco-friendly because there is no production of any type of smoke, ashes, or any type of harmful gases. So that is why this makes it eco-friendly. Getting my point? If I talk about disadvantages, first disadvantage, it cannot be established everywhere because it requires a large area. It requires some space. Okay. Second thing is that to set up these type of plants, we need lots of money. So it's an expensive project. Fourth point is wind does not blow all the time. So wind energy cannot be produced every time. And the minimum speed, because it is also a disadvantage because not all the wind can generate electricity. The condition here is that it requires 15 kilometer per hour minimum speed to generate electricity. Then only electricity is generated. Otherwise, you cannot generate electricity. So I hope guys now everything is clear to you related to this windmill. So let us move on to the next slide. Okay, dear students, so here we are. Now we will be talking about geothermal energy. So to understand the geothermal energy, let us focus on this name, geothermal. So this geo comes for the earth, because you might have heard some words, geology. Geology is what? Where we study about the earth. Okay. And there is another word, geography. Here also we study about the different places of earth. So, and thermal means I have already told you that thermal power plant. So thermal means what? Thermal means heat. Okay, so I hope that some of the students might get the idea what I am going to explain you, that what is geothermal energy. So basically, geothermal energy is the energy, or you can say it is the heat energy present in the earth. Now you might be confused that how the heat energy is present in the earth. So basically guys, there are two layers of earth like this. Okay, this is core and this outermost layer is crust. So guys, this core is very much hot. There is the presence of some magma, some molten rock. So that is the temperature of this layer is very high. So we all know that this earth is not perfect sphere. There are some places where the outermost layer of this earth is nearer to the core. So at those places, what do we do? Where the core is nearer to the crust, the magma or the molten rocks are nearer to the crust. So what will happen? Because I told you that this magma is so much hot, so that's why guys, what will happen? We can use this heat energy. We can use this heat energy to boil the water and to convert it into this steam. And I told you that this steam can make the turbine rotate. And when the turbine rotates, so the electricity is generated. Getting my point? So let us see. This is magma. Okay, and this is geothermal reservoir. It is so hot. So we are using this molten rock or this heat. Okay, and this is coming to here. And this water is heated here. This is steam water separator basically. Here the water is heated. And when the water is heated, this it is converted into the steam, and this steam is making the turbine rotate, and this turbine is connected to this generator, and generator generates electricity, and this electricity is transmitted to our houses. Now guys, let us talk about the advantages of geothermal energy. So the first advantage is that it can be operated round the clock. It means that it can be operated in the night and in the daytime as well. So energy can be, you can say, we can get the energy 24 hours. Now it is also eco-friendly because you can see that there is no smoke, there is no ashes in this process. Okay, but if I talk about the disadvantage, so the first disadvantage is that it is it let me erase it. So it is not easier to locate the hotspot. So basically what is hotspot? Where we are finding this magma and this geothermal reservoir. Okay, so basically that is hotspot. So it's not easier to locate the hotspot, and these type of plants cannot set up everywhere. And I think you better know the reason that why we are not able to get these type of plants or to set up these type of plants at every place, because hotspots are not found everywhere. So I hope guys this point is clear to you that what is geothermal energy. Now let us move on to the last type of ocean thermal energy plant, like I mean last type of plant, and that is ocean thermal energy plant. So ocean means we all know sea, and thermal means heat. So basically here we use the temperature difference, the energy available due to temperature difference between the deeper levels. So basically I tell you, the sea layer which is upside, let's suppose this is your sea. Okay, so this layer which is upside has higher temperature, but if you go deeper, so the temperature decreases. Why? Because the sun rays will not reach here. So that's why the temperature of the lower level is, you can say, is down, but the temperature of the upper layer is higher. So because of the temperature difference, we can see that we can use this temperature difference, we can use the energy available to the temperature difference. So how do we use it? Basically, let's suppose we are using here ammonia. So here on the downside, the temperature is very less. Okay, because for every 1 kilometer, the temperature decreases 10 degrees centigrade. 10 degrees centigrade decreases when you go 1 kilometer down. So what will happen? This temperature is so much less. So at this temperature, the ammonia is at liquid state. So what do? We use this ammonia, we send this ammonia to this evaporator where temperature is higher. Now this evaporator evaporate the ammonia, okay, and it will convert into the gas. And we all know that some gases has pressure as well. So due to this pressure, the turbine will rotate. And when the turbine rotates, so this turbine is connected to the generator. So generator generates electricity. Now guys, this ammonia is again sent to the condenser. So the temperature in the condenser is very much less. So when the temperature is decreased, so the gaseous state of this ammonia will again convert into the liquid form. And then this liquid ammonia again sent to the evaporator, and this process goes on. So this is how we utilize the ocean thermal energy. So the energy available due to the temperature difference between the deeper level and surface of an ocean is called ocean thermal energy, and this is how we use it. So I hope guys this point is clear to you. Now I am ending this lecture and we will meet you in the later lecture. So thank you so much and see you later.